In March, this subcommittee held a hearing to examine the findings of the United Nations Commission of Inquiry report on human rights in North Korea. Anyone would be hard-pressed to deny the extent of human rights abuses being committed by the most repressive totalitarian regime on earth. The report, the first of its kind, was a shocking wake-up call for the international community to take action, for the U.S. to take action. Unfortunately, it's been over 5 months, and we're still waiting for some pretty significant action on this. North Korea is one of the greatest security threats to the peace and stability of Asia, and one of the United States' most vexing security challenges. It's also one of the greatest policy failures of the past 2 decades. This year marks the 20th anniversary since the United States and North Korea signed the agreed framework, which called on North Korea to freeze operation and construction of nuclear reactors suspected of being part of a covert nuclear weapons program. While this agreement framed our relations for about 8 years, from North Korea's vantage point, it was a ruse, as the entire time Pyongyang continued to develop its uranium enrichment capabilities. Then, in an effort to continue nuclear negotiations with North Korea, we took a multilateral approach and began the 6-party talks. Once again, concession after concession. This method of negotiation also failed and has been stalled since December 2008. So, where are we today? North Korea has tested 3 nuclear devices since 2006, the most recent in early 2013, and has declared itself a nuclear-armed state. Belligerent and threatening rhetoric from Pyongyang's dilettante leader has escalated since he took the Kim throne in December 2011. It has launched nearly 100 ballistic missiles, artillery, and rockets combined since the beginning of this year. And its web of illicit activities and dealings with terrorist organizations around the world has expanded. Ultimately, North Korea's proliferation of nuclear weapons and support to groups that oppose Western interests continues unfettered and without limitation. Most of the world's attention today is locked on places like Ukraine, where Russia is supporting the infiltration of rebel troops into Crimea and eastern Ukraine, and the Middle East, where Hamas operatives in Gaza are trying to wipe Israel off the map. But we must also look east. It should come as no surprise that just this past weekend it was reported that Hamas militants are negotiating a weapons deal worth hundreds of thousands of dollars with North Korea for missiles and communications equipment. This relationship was first made public in 2009 when 35 tons of surface-to-surface rockets and rocket-propelled grenades were destined for Iran, which was then planned to be smuggled to Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. And last week, a U.S. federal judge ruled that North Korea, in concert with Iran and Syria, was responsible for providing materials and assistance to Hezbollah terrorists who fired rockets into Israel during an offensive that occurred in 2006. But again, nothing is being done to obstruct these weapons sales or the cargo ships traversing the world's oceans with weapons in the cargo bay. Over the years, North Korea has branded itself as a one-stop shop for missile and nuclear materials and technology, the ultimate facilitating bad guy, providing whatever its anti-American friends want, so long as it gets the oil and cash and materials it needs to maintain the power of the Kim regime. It is not a secret that North Korea has long cavorted with the likes of Iran and Syria, and in fact helped build Syria's nuclear facility destroyed by Israel in 2007. North Korea's last nuclear test, wherein Iranian nuclear experts were reportedly present, also underlined a harsh reality. North Korea's weapons capabilities are advanced and possibly more advanced than Iran's, further heightening the tremendous failure of efforts made by every administration since the early 1990s. As the evidence continues to mount of the grave threat that North Korea poses to the rest of the world, the Obama administration's official position is that North Korea is, quote, not known to have sponsored any terrorist acts since the bombing of a Korean Airlines flight in 1987, unquote. Even more staggering, on July 20th, Secretary Kerry noted that North Korea was, quote, quieter, unquote, than previous years, and that the U.S. is indeed, quote, moving forward, unquote, with the efforts to denuclearize North Korea. According to our records, the past few months have been one of the most historically active periods by North Korea in terms of testing missiles, including UN-restricted ballistic technology. I don't think North Korea's recent behavior can be called quiet. Simply put, the administration's do-nothing so-called strategic patience policy is crumbling to pieces, waiting for North Korea to beseech for negotiations aimed at limiting its nuclear and missile potential. Kim Jong-un has no interest in denuclearization. Outsourcing our North Korea policy to China, North Korea's top trading partner and source of revenue, has also yielded little progress. But we are still sitting idly by, waiting for Beijing's patience with Pyongyang to wear thin. The ongoing pursuit of restarting six-party talks is futile. It has been 6 years, and at this point, we are only wasting time as Pyongyang augments its fissile material stockpile and improves its missile and nuclear capabilities. The administration refuses to impose tougher and more targeted sanctions on North Korea, like those on Russia, Zimbabwe, Iran, Cuba, Sudan, and Belarus, because it believes doing so would, quote, unnecessarily hinder its ability to conduct foreign policy, unquote. It won't list the world's most prolific money launderer, counterfeiter, and state drug trafficker as a country of primary money laundering concern, but Iran and Burma are. And our current policy has done nothing to help the North Korean people. Excuse me. I remain disappointed that so little has been done to hold the Kim regime responsible for its horrific human rights abuses detailed in the UN Commission of Inquiry report. North Korea is a grave threat to the United States and also to our allies in Asia. We cannot continue to wait for North Korea to decide it wants to negotiate. A non-nuclear North Korea is an elusive goal if the administration maintains its current strategic trajectory. The Kim regime is responsible for the horrific deaths of people not only within North Korea, but around the world. It is time to put our resources together and act. Rewarding North Korea for reversible steps on the pretense that it will commit to denuclearization has failed before, so let's not buy the same horse twice. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses here this afternoon, and I'll now yield to the ranking member, acting ranking member today, Mr. Barra, for 5 minutes.